All right, here we are on the sixth day of the individuation process of the 31 days of October, and it's been a very interesting journey. Just a bit of transparency. This has kind of been like a bit more on the side of like impromptu for me because when I started thinking about this, it came to me in September, I believe it was, like early September, and it actually this came to me because I was thinking about another YouTuber that I watched that mentioned this whole thing of ones and zeros, one being the self and zero being the other, and kind of like coming at it from a standpoint of energy and how a lot of people are very tuned into everybody else's energy for to gain a sense of safety, right? For like external validation and everything. If you are raised, or if you were raised in a family system that is enmeshed, you understand this concept. Enmeshment is basically the inability to be okay unless everyone else is okay. And you need to know everything about everyone else. Again, that voids boundaries. So that's a huge no go. But yeah. So I saw this other YouTuber talking about this, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And then of course it goes on to talk about this thing where you like feel the space in between your body and stuff. You bring your energy into your hands and everything, and your feet. You can feel the separation between you and the wall, like everything in your environment and stuff. Um, Individuation is very interesting, and basically the question for today is um, the question to ask the self is, did I ever abandon everything? Sorry, did I was there? Hold on, let me make sure I'm asking this correctly. Did I ever abandon what was authentic to me for external validation? Um, if so, what did I abandon and why? Now, the reason why I think that this question is so important to ask is because there's a good chance that a good portion of people on the face of this planet have abandoned something at some point in their lives for external validation. Again, this goes back to social survival. Social survival being you have absolutely no idea what the fuck is going on when you're growing up in your household and you're relying on your parents for that sense of direction, right? So, because you don't know what's going on, right? You'll easily just be like, no, I can let go of that. I need your love. So if if what I need to do to acquire your love or to be validated by you through love, love, safety, and belonging and everything, um, then what I'll do is I'll let go of something, even if it's authentic to me. And this is where um, abandoning the self comes into play because we learn at an early age. Like say for instance, like there are households where healthy anger is not acceptable, but that's only because the person who can't accept it grew up with it in their household, and it's just not welcome for them because of the way that it makes them feel. Right? They enter fight. They enter into fight or flight, and they have to run. Right? And this is actually how abandonment happens. Right? Because when you're presented with something and you can't handle it, you're gonna flee, right? Because you don't know what the fuck else to do. So then that happens, and then you're taught that if you present yourself this way, then the person leaves, and it kind of goes that way. So then you're either going to be taught that it's not acceptable through abandonment or through the person telling you that that's not acceptable in the household. And again, because you're in such a vulnerable state as a child, wide-eyed, full of wonder, not having any idea what the fuck's going on, you are going to sacrifice the self. In other words, that's what this is. It is the sacrificing of the self. Whenever you give up whatever it is that is authentic to you, you are sacrificing the self. And in terms of frame, you are stepping outside of your frame. If you were to consider your body to be a frame, which it is, and the energy of your body, however you decide to compose yourself, however you decide to express yourself, that is what is authentic to you. And if you are to suppress that or neglect it or abandon it, you are sacrificing the self for whatever else is there that you're sacrificing the self for. If it is to gain love, safety, and belonging in the environment because you have no idea what's going on and you need a sense of direction and you feel like there's no other way, you will do it because you have no idea what the fuck's going on. So we learn these, what I would argue to be coping mechanisms, early on in life. And as we learn them, it kind of becomes clear to us that, not only are we seeing that in the household that that's not acceptable, but like we go out into society and in culture and stuff, and there's further validation that those things are unacceptable. So then we further and further and further suppress and repress and abandon and neglect and push down and all that stuff. And it's not like this stuff just dies. It doesn't. But here's a really important metaphor to understand. This stuff doesn't die, but over time, if we just continue to do that, we die. When I say we die, I mean spiritually. I mean, in terms of our soul. Like it's destroying us. And this is why it's very important to understand this stuff. So if you can come to the standpoint of understanding that the process of individuation is really ridding, because here in childhood, not only did you self-sacrifice, right? But there's a good, so not only did, and it wasn't even a mask that you were taking off, right? Like you were actually like letting go of what's authentic to you. Imagine watching your home burn, right? Yeah. That feeling, right? Not only were you doing that, but you were also taking a mask that somebody else gave to you and put it on over and over and over again. So that's really what this is about. It's about the reverse of that. It's about, oh, never mind, take this off. Let's go back over to that and let's heal with that. That's what this process, this journey of individuation is. And the reason why it's so challenging for so many people is because there are belief systems that come up with it of, no, for example, this is probably a very common one, healthy anger is not acceptable. You cannot feel, you cannot feel angry, you cannot get angry. Those right there, those are belief systems. But the interesting thing about that is that this actually locks people into, like when I say locks, I mean like you can tell them they can get angry and they're like, no I can't, no I can't, no I can't. That belief system is dated way back to childhood, and that stuck with them, and that really molded the way that they see things in a very, very serious way. So there are some people out there that you could tell that they were like seriously locked into something, right? Into a way of thinking about something. Like, and this is crazy because ultimately it becomes a prison, right? Somebody was taught that it is completely unacceptable to express healthy anger, and so therefore they learned a belief that they just can't, by all means, but no matter what, they cannot express healthy anger, and then they stay stuck inside of that. And then, is there anything that can break them out of that? I don't know, but well, yeah, I mean, of course, like you can be released from that kind of stuff. These things have a strong hold on you until you really understand what's going on here, but you can be released from these things. So, yeah, ask yourself, did I ever abandon what was authentic to me for external validation? If so, what did I abandon and why? I'll tell you right now, there are a lot of people out there walking around that are not being authentic to themselves because they learned that in order to win at life, they had to sacrifice themselves. And then, of course, like you hear, it's always interesting to me. This goes way back. This is I don't even know if generational. There we go. But I don't know if generationally is a word. Anyway, generational trauma goes way fucking back. Like this is starting with like great grandparents, even beyond that. Like stuff that stuff that traumatized us when we were kids started eons ago, right? Like if somebody grew up in a household where they said, anger is not acceptable, it's not an acceptable emotion to express, that person grew up with something. But that person grew up with something that came from someone else, 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 that came from someone. Like, it's like, that's how this stuff works. So just becoming aware of the patterns and everything is absolutely necessary. Let me just make it clear right now that there is nothing wrong with any emotions. It's necessary to experience every emotion as necessary in congruency with whatever's happening. Anger, sadness, frustration, congruency is key, right? Um, in order to in order to get to the more elevated emotions, we have to heal our relationship with these other emotions. Because I'll tell you right now, people are in a prison. They are in a prison. They are locked inside of belief systems that are um, limiting their ability to experience life, and it's very sad. So yeah, here's to the 31 days of individuation of October. This is day 6. Thank you everyone for participating in this journey. If you are, I'm excited to see how this continues to unfold. And yeah,